write something on the board. Let's spell it. First letter.
L O G.
What's that?
Love.
What?
It's time. It's time to have real, honest, open, difficult, and inspiring conversations. It's time for Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hey there, family. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Love and Life right here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. Hello to you once again. I am your host, Carol Riddick, and I am joined tonight by the one and only Miss Kayla J. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. We are happy to have you back with us. I mean, Nick was good to us, but you know, we're happy to have you back, Miss Kayla J. Family, I just want to say thank you for joining us. You know, I like to say that at the beginning and at the end. And happy Monday to you. Happy Monday to you all. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you did. You know that I always like to check in. So, you know, I want to know, did you do anything special? Was it nice? Did you do anything just different from your norm? Y'all know I want to know all about it. I ask you all the time, all the time. I want to extend my gratitude to Detroit, Michigan, and Kansas City, Missouri, for all the love that you showed, and also my gratitude to the Will Downing family for all the love they show me as well, and all the love that you all just shared, just completely. But before we go further, I want to take this moment right here to celebrate our very own Miss Kayla J. You know, as my grandmother would say, you should walk softly but carry a big stick. Well, Miss Kayla J does just that. And so, family, please join me in congratulating Miss Kayla J on winning the Kojic, that's Church of God in Christ, Girls Rock Award for Media and Graphics, and the Chair Ladies Award as well. Miss Kayla J shared that her goal is to spread a little Jesus everywhere she goes. Well, from the God in me, Miss Kayla J, I am congratulating you on all of your accomplishments, seen and unseen. So, family, please join me in congratulating our beloved and our very own Miss Kayla J. To God be the glory, and congratulations, Miss Kayla J. So it's that time. It's that time to check in. It's that time to check in, y'all. You know, I like to call it roll call, roll call. But whatever it is, whatever you do, we just like to know that you're out there and you're ready to participate in the conversation. We like to know that you too are there. So to our family members on our socials, send us a hello, will you please? Let us know that you're listening and that you are out there, like I said, ready to, join the conversation. If you're simply listening but not watching, I want you to know that we do feel your love. We already do. We feel your love. And it's greatly appreciated. And if you want to call, you can do that too. You can call and say, hey, Carol, hey, Miss Kayla J. You can call and congratulate Miss Kayla J. And you can do that by dialing 215-634 8065. You can also call us toll free at 1-866-361-0900. I mean, shower her with love. You understand? You shower her with love. All the congratulations she can handle. That's what I'm trying to give her. You know, I like to celebrate. And I feel that we should all be celebrated. So, for that reason, if today is your birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. I just believe We should all be spoiled rotten, quite honestly. Okay. I wish we could be. I wish everybody could be spoiled rotten. I know I'm doing my part to see that we are. But before we go further, I want to recognize our family members on our socials. Fifi Dawkins writes, hi. Well, hi. Hi to you too. Thaddeus Cradle shares greetings, Queen. Carol Riddick, I enjoyed last week's show. So I'm back. We are so happy to have you here. I'm telling you, we just love all the love. Lasagna Thompson writes, hello, beautiful. Well, hello, beautiful to you too. Happy Monday. Fasima Stratton. Yes. Hi. Oh, she writes, fire set with Will Downing. I will share the love. I just talked to him. I will share the love with him. So glad you enjoyed it. Brother Nasir shares good evening, Sister Carol and Kayla J, and guests, peace and blessings. And there's the congratulations, Miss Kayla J from Lasagna. Congratulations from Thaddeus. Oh my goodness. Anthony, I'm so glad you came back. Anthony Zagami writes, I hope you had a great weekend. Well, I did. I was working, but it was fun because I love what I do. I love coming here, love, singing. Y'all know. So thank you. And he also writes, welcome back, Miss Kayla J. Miss Kayla, all these congratulations. I'm telling you all this love. I'm loving it. Nasir shares congratulations, Kayla J. Deneen, hi, Deneen. She writes, hey, mama to you. It's just love. Fasima, congrats. Y'all, I'm loving this. You hear me? Al de Villiers, hello, how are you? It's so good to hear from you. Okay, so listen. Family, I want to get into this conversation we're going to have with our first guest tonight. Okay. And I want you to get into it too. You know how it is when our beloved comes. She is our resident clinician who comes to visit with us on Mondays. So it's time for us to have our check-in with our resident clinician, who is, for those who are unaware, the executive director and co-founder of the Black Brain Campaign. Again, for those of you who are unaware, she is none other than FARIDA Boyer, and she is joining us tonight. We're going to talk about the steps one should take in healing from relationship trauma. Y'all, let's talk about it, okay? FARIDA.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, beautiful. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So glad to have you with us. You know, I always say Farida's coming.
Thank you.
No. Look, I'm looking, y'all. If you could see me, I should have put on a little lip gloss or something. My lips look like I've been eating chalk. Shut up. I'm going to find some on the commercial break. I'm going to handle that. I'm going to take care of that. Okay. Because that is not cute. That's not right. That's not right. It's not right. But Farida, so, listen, family, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, we talk about everything here, everything under the sun, okay? Everything under both umbrellas of love and life. And last week we were talking about unrequited love. So this week we're talking about healing from relationship trauma as it pertains to, more specifically, abuse. It could be mental, it could be physical, it could be sexual, but we're talking about healing from the different types of traumas in relationships. And we have none other than our own Farida Boyer here to talk with us about it all. Okay, to talk with us about it all. So, Farida, I want to jump in because you know how it is. The hour goes by so quickly. We will have answered one question and then we'll be saying, Farida, we'll see you next week. So, and y'all family, y'all know me. You have to reel me in sometimes because, I get a little excited and happy and, and then again, bye Farida, see you next week. So now that we've stated what we're going to be talking about tonight, I'll start with a question. In what ways can abuse in a previous relationship, whether it's physical, verbal, sexual, affect one in a future relationship?
In many different ways, and it depends. The most important thing is to kind of assess what has happened in those previous relationships, looking at patterns of behaviors looking at yourself to see what part did I play in it. Because a lot of times that we're in relationships and we see the signs, we see the things happening, but we overlook them. Like, that person's not going to do that to me because I'm this person, or just being in denial about what's happening. So the most important thing is to kind of assess what has happened in the relationship, whether it be mental or physical, and try to understand, how did it impact you? How do those things make you feel? Like, looking at signs, looking at behaviors, looking at not just your behaviors, but also your partner's behaviors, and try to identify what some of the things that has impacted you so that you can focus on those things.
I'm listening and I'm thinking, when you talk about assessing
Mm-hmm.
what took place and assessing your responsibility and everything that took place,
Mm-hmm.
is part of the process, well, is a part of the healing, the beginning of the healing process, is a part of that, dealing with first your contributions. When you say assessing, is that assessing everything? Like, you're looking at, what the other person did and looking what you did. Should you first address yourself to try to check yourself, or should it be
Just
an overall type thing?
and not necessarily checking yourself, but like, okay, and when I say assessing yourself, not necessarily meaning that you did anything, but
Okay.
what was happening for you in the moment. Like, what were you experiencing? Because a lot of times we see things, we see the signs, but we do nothing about it. So really trying to understand, what was I holding on to, or why didn't I let go? Because I knew this relationship was not right for me. So
Oh,
what you can't heal from something unless you know what you're healing from.
okay. Okay, that makes sense. That makes all the sense. You hear that, family? You can't heal from it unless you first know what it is. And then you've got to accept it,
Hmm.
because that's a
Absolutely.
big part of it for us, too.
Hmm.
I know, identifying something first, but just saying, oh, yeah, okay, well, that's what that is, but not fully accepting that is a part of that is a part of what's going on.
Hmm.
That's a whole nother thing, because we don't always like to accept, especially if we have anything to do with what's going on.
A lot
So,
of times, just from doing the work as a therapist, and I work with a lot of couples, I realized that even doing my own work, we still behave in childlike manners
mm-hmm.
because we did this when we were 13, and it's just our pattern of behavior. But you're no longer 13. You're not 16. You're more
Heavens
like
to
30,
March.
40, and 50. And if you're still behaving in those childlike behaviors, then how impactful is that? And what did you learn from in those experiences?
I've heard, well, it's been said to me by adult men, well, that's just how I am. That's just who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And as a good and
It's
grown
working
adult,
for you.
yeah,
That's the
well,
most
that's the part.
important thing
Yeah, is it working for you? Clearly,
for you.
if
Right.
if you need to say it that way too, well, that's just how I am. That's
Mm-hmm.
just who I am. Then that's not working for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's not you maybe, family, if you have just joined us, see, I jumped right on in because the hour goes by so quickly. Like I said before, you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. Feel free to call us. You can do that by dialing 215-634-8065, or you can call us toll free at 1-866-361-0900. For our family members that are joining us on our socials, I did not forget you. Let me let you know, okay? Ka Sahu Sarah is watching, and we are so grateful that you are there. Fasima, congrats. Miss Kayla, Miss Julie, hi there. So happy you are joining us as well. She writes, Happy Monday. Happy Monday to us all. I did my best, Miss Julie, to give them the songs of love and life. I sure did over the weekend. I sang my little heart out. You hear me? You hear me? And she writes, Congratulations for every award received, Miss Kayla J. Good evening to everyone else. Anthony is writing, welcome back, Miss Kayla J. I want to read all of this aloud, Miss Kayla, because I want you to feel all this love, okay? I want you to feel it. Deneen also writes, congratulations. I just love it, love it, love it. Before we go on, I'm going to take this moment to recognize all of the messages that we've received thus far because I did not ask for the birthday wishes, okay? And family, y'all know I like to make sure we're recognized. Nasir asks if I can wish Rose a happy birth anniversary. Well, Rose, happy birth anniversary to you. I hope it's a beautiful one. So, family, we're talking about abuse. We're talking about healing from abuse in relationships, from relationship trauma. That's what we're talking about with our resident clinician, Farida Boyer. And I just asked her about, in what ways will it show up, in future relationships? And we've been talking about accountability because that was my takeaway. We were talking about accountability, and Farida suggested that we first assess the situation overall. But I guess in that, you got to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest. You have to first be honest before you take that assessment.
Mhm.
So you don't go pointing fingers at everybody else but yourself. So being honest and assessing. And I also shared that I got to put some lip gloss on the commercial break, but I'm going to do that. I keep looking and that's all I see. I just see white. That's all I see. So I'm working through my own issues right now, y'all. But so I'm curious to know from you saying that, can relationship trauma in some ways resemble or look like PTSD?
Absolutely, because you can suffer or experience PTSD from a relationship trauma, and it depends on what you've dealt with in your previous relationships.
Okay.
Because PTSD is what is post-traumatic stress disorder. So it could be a trigger. You could have some triggers that remind you of something else from a previous relationship or the relationship that you've been in that triggers you to have a emotion, a thought, or anything, and send you in depressive state. So those things, it could cause PTSD. It could.
Mhm.
It was not something to rule out. And again, just even sharing some of my personal, like, my father was killed when I was 10, and it was from a domestic dispute, and I became angry as a child after
Mm.
that, and not knowing until I became an adult and doing my own work as a therapist that I realized a lot of my anger had to do with all of that. And my mother did her best to shield us from like harm's way, just to make sure, like, my family is very close, to make sure that we all had what we needed. But in reality, that happened almost 40 years ago. For the first time, maybe 2 months ago, is when my mother, and my siblings sat down together in a counseling session and even had a conversation about it.
Wow.
And I say that to say, when you talk about healing, because as a 10-year-old, I think I was 10 at the time. I have my own. You make up your own thoughts about
Mm-hmm.
what's happening, because as a parent should do, they're gonna only tell you so much as a 10-year-old. But as
Right.
time progresses, I become an adolescent, a young adult. I want to know more, but if I don't know the right questions to ask, I'm not asking questions, or my mother may be still trying to shield me. But I will say, like, she tried to provide us with a lot of, when there was times when I had questions, she would provide clarity. And some people don't have that. And again, at different stages in your life is when you should reveal certain things to children,
So, right.
adolescents, young adults. So when you talk, so even when you think about, for me, in that space, using me as an example, how did that impact my adult relationships and my relationships in just growing up? Because
Right.
I grew up without having, because my father and I were close. I was his first daughter. We were really close. Like, he took the boys, he's taking me. So it was, I was daddy's girl for for the most part. So it was
Mm-hmm.
such a loss, and something that I struggled with most of my life, but not really sure what was going on for me. So when you talk about healing, now it's like now years later I'm doing the healing work because now I figured out what my issue was.
Right. Family, listen, what we're going to do right now, we're going to take just a short break. We're going to go to commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to continue these conversations after we first go to our socials to continue our check-ins. So stay with us because we will be right back.
Are you ready to make a real difference in your community? The Philadelphia Police Department is recruiting new officers starting today through July 16th. As an officer, you will enjoy incredible benefits like fully paid medical, dental, and vision for you and your family. Plus, you can earn a salary of up to $85,000 after just 3 years. Also, plan your future by being fully vested in your pension with only 10 years. Apply at joinphillypd.com to start your journey from today until July 16th. Together, we can build a stronger, safer Philadelphia.
Pollution from trucks is a public health crisis. Diesel-burning trucks belch dangerous levels of pollution, and communities living near ports and along freight corridors breathe especially high levels of this dirty air. But this crisis has a solution. My name is Sasan Sadat, and I work for Earth Justice. I'm working to clean up our air quality, particularly for communities that bear the burden of diesel pollution. For the sake of our lungs, our health, and our climate, the future of trucking in this country has got to be zero emissions. Until then, I will never rest.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit defending the environment and people's health. Earth Justice is fighting to save lives, protect our climate, and strengthen our economy through the shift to zero emissions. If clean air matters to you, visit us at earthjustice.org. Earth Justice, because the earth needs a good lawyer.
Summer is here, and so is WURD's annual Summer of Freedom Tour. WURD Radio is proud to partner with Philadelphia Parks and Recreation and the Center for Families and Relationships for a summer of fun, freedom, and healthy communities. Join us in Germantown, Overbrook, North Philly, and Southwest Philly, where Tanya Pendleton will broadcast live each Thursday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Discover all that our recreation centers have to offer. Meet with mental health specialists who will provide support to children impacted by gun violence. Join WURD's community partners for hands-on outdoor activities and hear live performances from local artists. Win tickets and prizes and stand with WURD by joining or renewing your WURD membership on site. Meet us at our first stop Thursday, July 13th in Germantown at the Rumpf Mallory Recreation Center, 100 East Johnson Street. Summer of Freedom is brought to you by Comcast, Pico, Keystone First, and the Energy Co-op.
Hey, Lisa, I've been seeing those pics you post of you and your family at all those fun events. What gives?
Oh, VetTix.
What's VetTix?
VetTix is an amazing charity that gives free event tickets, like concerts, sporting events, and shows, to currently serving military vets and their families, and to the immediate families of troops killed in action.
We have extra tickets sometimes. Can I donate them?
Yes, just go to vettix.org. You can give your extra tickets, and other vets like me can sign up to get them.
What a great way to give back. And listen, thank you for your service.
Stay politically minded and informed with the Black Women's Leadership Council, Fridays, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on WURD, 900 a.m. and 96.1 FM. Progressive Black Talk Media. Streaming online at wordradio.com, on social, and on the WURD Radio app. You're listening to Love and Life with Carol Riddick on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hello there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. We are talking with none other than FARIDA Boyer. We are talking about healing from relationship trauma. And before the break, I was sharing that we were going to go back to our socials just to say hello to our family members that are checking in. And we're going to do just that. Tammy Miller. Hi, Tammy. She writes, hey, sister. Hey, girl. She writes, this is a great topic. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm hoping that you all will join the conversation. You know, we always encourage you to do so because, I mean, little old me, I can't think of everything. You know, I have questions, but I know you do too. And or you might have a comment that you want to share, and you can do that as well. You can do that on our socials, or you can call us. Dion Dupree writes, "All right, all right, all right. Well, hello, hey you." Tigressa sings. Natalie is joining us too. Michael Chip Gordon is sending love. Miss Lily is here as well. So we are so grateful to have all of you here, and we're talking, as I said before, about healing from relationship trauma. So Farida was sharing just before the break that the loss of her father at a very young age, at first at onset, brought on a little anger. You were dealing with a little anger as a child, which is completely and totally understandable. When you were saying that, I'm thinking like, wow, I could see that, and then especially in some of the kids with which I work, watching them, you know, process different things and try to navigate different adult situations, you know, the emotions that it brings out. I want to ask about, you know how people say we as little girls look for their fathers in men, and boys look for their mothers in their women. Um, is it possible that, you know, maybe not favorable relationships with either of those parents, is that something that will show up in what we're looking for in our adult lives? Like if my father's not there as a little girl, am I looking for men who are typically non-committal? Or
Some of those similar behaviors do show up, and when you look at when I do something called a genogram, when I sit with couples, families, whomever, individuals, I look at relationships and I look at patterns of behavior, and I can see similarities. And okay, you may not even realize that I like this person if it's a male, because some of those characteristics, she reminds me of my mother. I like when they say you're married to your mother or something like that. It's you, and when you think about it, those are your first real loves. Your parents are supposed to be should be your first real loves, and you have those experiences. So you're looking for similar things that you find in them. So it doesn't necessarily happen for everybody, but a lot of times it does.
That makes sense. So I'm jumping all over the place. You know what I do. You know what I do. But I want to go back to the story that you shared. So is it possible, you know, talking about that healing process, talking about like having that, because that was deeply rooted since you said at 10 years old, that was a hurt that was deeply rooted that you were experiencing. And family, for those who just tuned in, I'm talking about the story that Farida shared with us about the loss of her father at the age of 10. And she said initially she had she dealt with anger. So I'm curious to know the like saying that not actually addressing it until your adult life, good and grown adult life, like can that that can that like for a person who doesn't handle it well, that could really manifest badly in their adult life.
Absolutely. When you think about how those things, any traumatic experience that you don't seek help for, because one, you don't, if you're not seeking help, how do you learn to process these things? Like, who's teaching you how to process these things? What's happening for you? I didn't even know I was angry. I didn't know. I just know that I fought a lot growing up, and I didn't know why, but it was just like, you say something, okay, like, but that was that anger inside of me. And it's like, now looking back on it, it's kind of like, I wish I had the tools then to know that I was even experiencing the loss, because it was kind of like life went on. That was my first experience with death. So that too impacted me, or how I deal with death. It's kind of like, all right, now I know I'm never going to see this person. But at 10 years old, I didn't know I was never going to see my father again. I didn't realize that. But so the way that I handle death now may look different than how other people experience death that may experience it for the first time.
You know, as I'm listening to you talk about this, and family, I shared this story with you all before, but my grandfather, he was my first love.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather, his nickname for me was Kitten.
Mm-hmm.
And probably because I followed him everywhere, but I did. And I was his baby. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, from the moment I came out the womb, I was his baby.
Mm-hmm.
And he passed away when I was 3 years old.
Wow.
I was so traumatized that I began wetting the bed and I began sleeping in a coma-like state.
Mm-hmm.
You could not wake me. Like
Wow.
and I began sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
I was really, really traumatized. I was really, really traumatized. And I remember I had bunk beds. I was in the fourth grade. I think it was third or fourth grade. And I fell off of the top bunk, but I was sleeping on the edge with my hands balled, gave myself a black eye and sprained my shoulder because I fell with the way, but I didn't even wake up. I cried in my sleep. My mother, I fell onto I didn't wake up because I was so, he used to take me to the bathroom in the middle of the night. He would wake me up, walk me to, so I wouldn't. So yeah. So I'm listening to you talk about processing and how, how we heal with try to heal from these relationships. And it took a very, very, very long time. As you hear me sharing, it took a very long time, very long time. So family, I'm getting a question from one of our family members on our socials, Al. Hey there, Al. Al DeVilliers writes, I'm a first-time listener, long-time fan. Can we ask questions? You absolutely can. And we encourage you to do so. You can ask questions. You can leave comments. All of the above. You can do that on our socials, or you can even call us. And you can do that by dialing 215-634-8065. Or you can call us toll free at 1-866-361-0900. So yeah, as I'm listening, I'm thinking like, what? Yeah, well, I can completely identify and relate to what you're saying when you're talking about the loss of your father. Mine just manifested in another way because I kept everything so close to me that I still do, quite honestly, but not as much as I did then. But yeah, so that was how it manifested for me. That was how my pain and hurt manifested for me. And it took, like I said, I wet the bed until I was 10 years old. So for 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So, all right, some more questions. So I'm curious to know why is it more difficult for some of us to let go of past relationship trauma? And I'll say trauma as it applies to a romantic relationship, not necessarily physical.
Well, we like what we like. Some things are familiar. I know what this situation is going to bring me. I know what this relationship is like, as opposed to getting in something new. This might be a little difficult, but I can deal with this because I've been dealing with this before. But if I leave this, am I going to be dealing with something that's worse than what I'm dealing with now? So the familiarity of it is comfortable for me. I feel familiar because I've been in this relationship for quite some time. So as opposed to leaving this where I feel comfortable, even though it's not the best,
right?
I could probably be doing better. I could probably have a better relationship with somebody, but I feel comfortable in this because I know what to expect.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm not saying that's a good thing. That's not
right.
Yeah, it just is. And we had to be ready to say, you know what? Let me do what's best for me. And maybe being in that relationship is what's best for you at the moment.
Oh, wow. Even though it's not a good one. Oh, so that's just thinking about that. And listen, okay, let me stop talking. So Ms. Julie is asking, Farida, has there ever been a survey on how Black exploitation movies have an effect on relationships?
I can't say there has not been. I'm not sure, but when you think about some of the movies that we grew up with, sometimes one, we like to model what we see, especially now with social media and you see all of these things, and that's when you think about the younger generation. They're exposed to so much that we probably were never exposed to at such young ages, and those things impact us. May it be TV, the radio, social media, all those things impact you. Think about your mood, right? You could leave in the house having an awful day. You go get in the car and turn the radio and your song come on. It might suddenly just change your mood. So all of those things that we see, that we hear, impacts how we feel. So I'm not sure if there was a specific, to answer her question, I'm not sure if there's anything specific, any specific data on it, but I just from doing the work that I do, I know that how the media can impact one's mindset.
Yes. Listen, for the majority of this year thus far, I posted so little because I didn't have the bandwidth for social media. I shouldn't even say I posted. I didn't indulge. I didn't even look. It's like I just stayed away from it for the majority of this year. Like I said, I just didn't have the
And
bandwidth.
sometimes we have to take a break from that. Because most of everything that you see is not real. It's
right.
Everything is just everything that's everything that glitter isn't gold. So it's kind of like, all right, we're only seeing what it really looks like, but you don't. I used to do home visits, and you can't imagine how people live. Like, you can't imagine what a lot of people live like. And I say that to say, so, but when you go on social media, everything is all glitz and glam.
Yeah, and you're right about that. That we live, society has become such that we're promoting these facades. We don't live in real life. We don't live in real life at all, and it has me. It oftentimes it has me feeling defeated and down because, like, that's a lot. First of all, it's a lot to navigate. It's a lot to digest. And if it's not what you want, which that's not what I want, I live in the real world.
Right.
It just feels so heavy. It just feels like so much, you know. Oh my goodness, family. If you've just joined us, you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. You know I'm going to say it just because I like to do so. That's WURDradio.com. We are talking about healing from relationship trauma. And we're talking about it all. So if you want to contribute to the conversation, feel free to do so on our socials, or you can do so by calling us. You know, we always welcome you to the conversation. That's what we do here, because we talk about everything under both the umbrellas of love and life. So I'm curious, Farida, knowing like someone trying to get past trauma from a relationship that was mentally abusive, from someone who was mentally abusive. How do you even begin to heal from that trauma?
I'm gonna tell you the first thing to do, in the listeners, our family, seek help. It is okay to seek professional help, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a therapist, but I wish that I would have sought therapy years ago, just growing up, and I believe it would have had a different impact on my life. As what people don't understand, it's like, okay, I gotta go tell this person my business. I get it, you do. And one thing about being in therapy, it's not gonna work unless there is a connection between you and your therapist, because you have to feel comfortable with this person to be able to share,
Right.
be honest. And it's okay if it's not a connection. Tell your therapist this is not working, because it's our responsibility to refer you to at least 3 other people that you can seek treatment from. So I would say that seek out help. Just like if you have a injury, you're going to go to a hospital, you're going to go see a doctor, go see somebody that can help you process and navigate what's happening for you. I will also include do some journaling if you're a writer, and journaling is very helpful to just get what's in your head, just get it out. I journal a lot, especially when I'm going through something. I might not even go back and read it for months or weeks later, because I like to see the growth and development that I've been through. But when even so doing that, find things that within your inner peace. Don't avoid what happened. You want to look at it, assess all of it. What has happened to me? And try to one of the things I always ask questions about, how does it make you feel? A lot of people do not know feeling words. So I'll tell a client, just Google feeling words. Google feeling words, and it's a list of words that come up. You scroll down and you find all the words that relates to you and how you feel in that moment. So that when you're able to talk to anybody about how you're feeling or what you're thinking, you have an accurate depiction of what you're actually feeling and thinking about at that time.
That's so helpful. That makes so much sense. Family, listen, we have to go to break now, but know that the phone lines are open, and also feel free to comment on our socials. You are listening to Love and Life right here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. Stay with us because we'll be right back.
Talking to your kids about the dangers of vaping can be hard. Getting them to listen to hot gossip is easy. So here's some drama you could share with your kid. Dude, did you hear about Cassie and Jake? No, but did you hear that vaping can cause irreversible lung damage and nicotine affects brain development? Nuh-uh. You don't need to gossip if you want to have an open conversation about vaping. So if you want to get tips on when and how to talk to your kids, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
What are you waiting for? If you've been enjoying the information and interviews WURD provides every day, or come out to our community events, it might be time to become a member. This year marks the 20th anniversary of WURD, and there's no better time to join the forward movement. Sign up or renew your sustaining membership at just $90, or your digital membership for just $5 a month. Join online at wordradio.com/membership, or pick up the phone and give us a call at 215-425-7875. Press 4 for assistance. The time to join is now.
What am I waiting for?
Did you know Henry Ossawa Tanner, the first internationally known African-American painter, lived and studied right here in Philadelphia? As the first Black student admitted to the prestigious Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts, Tanner broke barriers with his innovative moving paintings and influenced generations of artists around the world. To find out more about the efforts to preserve his legacy and North Philadelphia childhood home, visit thetannerhouse.org. A message from the Friends of the Tanner House.
Hey, Word family, save the date, Friday, August 18th for the 2023 Founders Day celebration. Please join us in person for an all-day block party featuring a tribute to Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD, food, music, the presentation of the Community Impact Awards, and more. You can also stand with Word Radio. Start or renew your Word membership on site. Save the date for our 2023 Founders Day celebration, Friday, August 18th. We are WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
I think I know what love is.
And we are back. Family, you're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. So I'm going to go to our socials for a moment because we have a question from one of our family members who writes, I am very close to my daughters and grandchildren, and my granddaughter turned 13 last year and has only seen her father a few times in her life, but I am very active in her life. She recently asked to change her last name to mine. I'm looking for advice on how to deal with her trauma, as I have refused to discuss her deadbeat father with them. I can tell my being close to my daughters is something she really wants with her father, so please advise.
Good question. The first thing, talk to her. Ask her how she feels, what she's thinking, so that you can get a clear understanding of what she's experiencing as it relates to her father. What do you want from your father? What are you missing from your father? What does it feel like to not have a relationship with your father? The other thing, when you said that she wanted to change her name, I think that we allow children to do so many things at a young age when they're not even mature enough to understand what's happening for them in that moment. Your brain is not fully developed until you're about 25 or 26. So I would maybe wait on some things to allow her to do till she's mature enough to understand to make the best decision for herself. Because I don't think at 13 I'm sure you know what it feels like to be 13, and your emotions and brains is all over the place. So you just don't want to, and really try to understand why do you want to change your name? Ask that question. What makes you want to change your name? Do you want, just try to understand from her perspective what she's feeling and what she's experiencing. It's unfortunate we have so many fathers and some mothers that are just not an active part of their child's relationship. The one thing I will say, you don't even have to talk negative about their father or that mother. That child will learn about that person on their own and develop their own perspective. But a lot of times what happens is we'll engage in that negative behavior, and that at the end of the day, that she's still connected to him. So it doesn't make her feel good to know that he's a deadbeat father, and just allow her to develop her own scenario of who he is, and let her support her in the process if she wants to have a relationship or not. And one of the things that I don't think that we do enough, reach out to the father. Maybe as the grandmother, reach out to the father and say, I would like to have a conversation with you, and let you know how it's making your daughter feel, how it's impacting our life. Because at the end of the day, we have to get back to that village.
This is the grandfather. Yep, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, the grandfather. Reach, even better, like have a conversation with him and let him know, like, I'm here to support her, but we also need you to involve. And a lot of times we make it about money, but if you don't have it, it doesn't take a nickel to go to the park and throw a ball with a child. So
family, Nico, I want to say hello. Thank you. Peace and love. Peace and love. Thank you for joining us, Alfredia. Thank you for joining us. Nilsa wants to know if she can comment on her husband's oldest daughter's feelings. Absolutely. She writes, I've been with my husband 30 years and we have a daughter together, but my husband has an older daughter and she wanted her father's name after I had my daughter.
Again, I would what's going on, and she's an adult, so you can have that conversation. Like, we avoid these heavy conversations, and people have the right to their own feelings and their emotions, and trying to understand what's happening for them at the time. Have a conversation. Communication is the most powerful key to most relationships, and a lot of times we avoid difficult conversations because of the way it makes us feel.
Nilsa, I hope that helped. And hello, beautiful. Eric is joining us. Just Rick. Just Rick. He is writing good evening to everyone, and he's so glad to hear these essential topics and issues that are truly pertinent to our race and our people as a whole. Keep on keeping on. We so appreciate that. Family. We're talking about healing from relationship trauma tonight. And we're talking with Farida Boyer, our resident clinician, who is always, she's always helping us with these issues, these topics that we talk about. So, Farida, what are some of the things that we can focus on to make sure that we're ready for a healthy relationship after healing from the trauma of maybe I want to say a bad one, but
Mm-hmm. The number one thing to focus on is yourself. Focus on yourself. You will know when you are ready to be in another relationship. And if you just got out of a relationship, you're not ready to get back in another one, because you have to give yourself time to heal from those relationships. Learn more about yourself. We put so much energy into other people, other relationships, our children, all of those things. Spend some time with yourself, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're being selfish. You're just practicing self-care and figuring out who you are, what you like, what you want to do, what's your goals. And once you are able to figure those out, because it's one thing to be in a relationship with somebody, but you don't want to bring an unhealthy person into another relationship that's going to make it another unhealthy relationship. So until you are healed in being healthy, I would say avoid being in any close and long-term relationship with anybody, because those same patterns of behavior, if you haven't learned from them, will show up again.
I know we're pressed for time because I'm looking at the clock, but I'm curious to know how we as an adult help a child who heals, who's trying to heal from relationship trauma, whether it's loss of a loved one or if it's abuse, either or.
Again, that communication, talking to that child, so going to those feeling words and getting them to speak about the feelings and understanding how they're feelings. A lot of times they have art therapy for younger kids who can't really express that. And you would be amazed. I used to work with some art therapists, and they would show me pictures or drawings of that people did, and really explain to me what was going on in the picture, because just me visually looking at it, I'm not really sure. But you may see your child with a gun, and then they're explaining to me what happened for that child, and how they are using art therapy to express their trauma. So it's many different ways that you can assist the child. But the one thing I will say is make sure you're communicating with them on an age appropriate level. What you're going to say to a 5-year-old is not going to be the same thing that you say to a 13-year-old.
Right. And to also make sure that we're equipped, and because these are hard conversations.
And
Those
bring
are hard
other people
conversations.
in. One of the
Right.
things what makes us a little different, family therapists a little different from other therapists. You can bring in whoever you want, your mother, your father, your aunt, uncle, friends, teachers, whomever you want, you can bring into your session, because it gives me another opportunity to hear what this person is experiencing as it relates to you.
That's important. That makes sense. I want to share that Nilsa provided an update to the situation. She wrote that she and her husband supported the daughter, and they went and changed her name. Now she has her father's name, and her siblings have the same name, and they're all a happy family. So she wanted to share. Yeah, she wanted to share. She said communication is key. So they all, as you said, they all did sit down and talk about it and discuss it. So I'm happy, Nilsa. I'm so happy to read that, and thank you for sharing that with us. Family, if you've just joined us, you know what I'm going to tell you. You tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. We've been talking with our resident clinician, Farida Boyer, and tonight we're talking about healing from relationship trauma. I'm looking at the time, and I hate when the clock goes. It just seems that, that was 15 minutes. What? We what? But I can't thank you enough for always, Farida, just providing us, sharing your knowledge with us, sharing your spirit, sharing your time, sharing your knowledge and your attention with us is always appreciated. We are always truly, truly grateful for it. So I was trying to think because I had 1 million questions in my mind because it was, there was so much. I wanted to touch things with our kids and adults as well. But I'm glad that the things that we did talk about were helpful to our family members that are listening. Patrick shares, first time listener, enjoying the conversation, valued discussion. And we so greatly appreciate the love that you all are sharing. So, because Farida has to go, and that's our first hour. Heavens to Murgatroyd. And I tell you, it goes by so fast. Farida, we are looking forward to the conversation I'm looking forward to the conversation we will have with you next week. And I thank you so much.
You.
Oh, wait, I believe I'm looking. You know what we're going to do, family? We're going to go to commercial. And when we come back, we're going to go to our phone lines. So stay with us. Farida, if you have just an extra 5 minutes, could you stay with us just an extra 5 minutes?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So family, stay with us. We're going to commercial break and we will be right back.
Grilling season is here. Keep things sizzling all summer long with Dietz & Watson. Fire up the grill with perfectly smoked premium franks and sausages, or enjoy endless sandwich combos with fresh sliced meats and cheeses in a variety of bold flavors. There's something for everyone in the family, plus plenty of protein-packed snacks. Head to DietzandWatson.com to find a shop right near you. Dietz & Watson, it's a family thing. Premium meats and artisan cheeses since 1939.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays? The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
The job search can be a difficult and frustrating process. WURD's Livelihood Initiative was designed to help you find the right opportunity for your next professional move. Check out these recent openings posted on the Livelihood job board at wordworks.com. Brown ShopRite and Fresh Grocer are hiring cashiers at multiple locations. And Her Foods are hiring truck drivers, various warehouse shift laborers, and a sales representative. For more information on these jobs and many others, go to wordworks.com and learn more about the Livelihood Initiative. Brought to you by WURD Radio, progressive Black talk media.
Hey, did you feel that? Feel what? Feels like a wave just hit me. I think something's happening at WURD Radio.
Are you ready?
WURD Radio's rocking the boat and bringing you new programming. Beginning Monday, June 26th, check out some of your old favorites and new additions in new time slots.
New position.
Morning Drive begins with The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders, Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., followed by Wake Up with WURD with Solomon Jones, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Get your news and entertainment from Reality Check with Tanya Pendleton, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Keeping it real with Reverend Al Sharpton returns to the middays, Monday through Thursday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Your drive time remains enlightened by Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, Monday through Thursday, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. And grab a nightcap from Love and Life with Carol Riddick, Monday through Thursday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Listen on air and online at wordradio.com. WURD Radio, celebrating 20 years of progressive Black talk media.
Let me tell you something, and don't you ever forget it. Success is nothing without someone you love to share it with.
You're listening to Love and Life with Carol Riddick on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life right here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. What we're going to do right now is go to our phone lines since Farida has graciously allowed us another just an extra 5 minutes. So I'm hoping that our family member who's been waiting is still there. Are you still there?
Yeah, I am still here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your patience.
Well, I really wanted to make several comments. And so, in brief, emancipation in the state of Pennsylvania begins at age 14. So, if a child comes to a conclusion that they need to do something about their family name, they can legally at age 14. Even if they're not mature, they still have the right. What I really wanted to do was make a quick comment about how many of us let our hot dates turn into due dates and expect fatherhood to result. We really need to stop and think about that. And the comment is made on that, but a real quick story. I was sitting and listening to three little girls, probably around 10 or 11 years of age, chatting with one another. One said to the other girl, are you still seeing Tony? And the young lady responded, no, he's not the whole package. Neither other of the two girls remarked on that because they understood what the whole package meant. And I think that when we are picking our traumas, as you call it, we need to really stop and think, is this the whole package? Before we get involved. We get involved way quicker than we need to. We know nothing about the family, nothing about their character. And then we talk about trauma. The trauma is our desperation and neediness. And we need to become better in self-esteem and more empowered with confidence that we can wait. We don't have to rush into a relationship that could result in a birth. What do you say to that?
Either one of us or both of us or?
Both of you.
Oh, okay. Well, first, say that again.
Since I waited, I would like to hear both comments.
Well, again, I do thank you for your patience. You know, I'm listening to that story, and I believe I've heard that same conversation, quite honestly, because that seems to be what is popular nowadays. Little girls, young women, adult women saying, well, he doesn't have the total package. I've heard that conversation. And I do believe there is truth in what you're saying about being patient. But it took me a while to get to that. It took me a while to get to that. I didn't always accept. When I was younger, my mother, my aunts would always say, take your time, date. But, then there's also always society and the public saying, well, if you date, especially as it pertains to a woman, the perspective is that the woman is promiscuous or fast or loose or what have you if you date a lot. So and I'm speaking for myself only, I felt stuck, quite honestly, for a very long time because I wasn't interested in really dating a lot, number one. And on the other side of that, it was hard to get to know people, men. It was hard to get to know men because let me say I'm heterosexual. It was hard to get to know a man because men, typically the men that were approaching me, I should say, the men who were approaching me, the boys who were approaching me weren't interested in being patient either. So I struggled. I still struggle with that, quite honestly, as an adult woman. But I am patient because I'm single and I'm happy with that. I talk with the young women that I do entertain the conversation with about relationships, about dating and what have you. I say the same thing, but I can say that now as an adult woman, be patient because I'm happy with me and I'm happy with my company. I love me and I love my company. I do want to have a significant other. I do want to have a man in my life, but he does have to, I have to get to know him. Like you said, I do have to get to know him and his family because again, having those conversations and learning things about someone, particularly their background, their thoughts, the way they maneuver, the way they live life. That's all important because you what you don't want to do is learn that when you're in the midst of a situation, learn how they react or what they feel about certain things. You need to know those things about a man. You need to know those things about the person that you plan on spending a good part of life with. So I happen to feel the same way that you do about patience, about knowing a person's background, about and to that point, I will say this too. To that point, I do live what I'm saying. I'm saying this in real life, in real time, and I live it. I don't have any children. I don't have any human children. I got a fur baby for that reason, because I think it's important. But I haven't always, well, clearly, I haven't met a man who shared the same viewpoint as I. So I agree with you about being patient. I agree with you about learning the individual. I agree with you. Well, I agree with you about all of that. But I did make a mistake, because I did marry someone that I didn't know well because I was presented with a facade.
Mm-hmm.
The person did not present who they truly were to me. I thought I knew the person. I thought I fell in love with the representative that was presented to me. So I took all the time I thought and I wound up marrying someone that I did not know. I didn't know him at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just, offering my own personal opinion and my own situation as a response. But Farida, I'm sure that took so much time.
No worries. When you say the total package, I've been married for going on 18 years at the end of the month, and when you talk about the total package, what does that even mean? Because in relationships, in any relationships, I remember it's like, oh, you got to give 50-50 in a relationship. You don't. Because what happens when you don't have 50 to give and you can only give 10? So who's going to show up to give the rest of that? So when you're talking about relationships, I think that a lot of times we have such a fairy tale view of what relationships should look like. Everybody's relationship looks different, and what you do in your relationship may not work in my relationship, and what I do in my relationship may not look the same in your relationship, which is fine, because it's yours. It's for you and that person to work on. I think that a lot of times in relationships, what I've realized and recognized, that people don't know who they're married to. You really don't know who you're married to, and you're not having hard conversations, or not just married, just being you can just be in relationship. Just like you said, you didn't know who that person was. Because you're not having these conversations, these authentic conversations about who I am, what I like, what I want. And you go years assuming these things. And then when you look up, it's like, this is not the person that I married.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that wasn't my case. We had conversations. The information that was given to me wasn't true and correct. Just,
Well, my question to both of you is, how many times did you take that person around your friends and family for them to examine and to interact? Because a lot of times we keep secrets. We're not confident in our relationships enough to take that person to someone like family, grandmom, auntie, uncle, grandfather, best friend, their mother. You have to know all sides. You can't just have a relationship that begins in a silo. And
I agree with that. I agree with that. And I did. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, look, I did. The person that I married, everybody, my friends, my family, like we dated for well over 5 years before we married. So he was around everybody that I knew, everybody that I knew. But again, what was presented to me wasn't truly who he was. It wasn't until after we were married that the truth came out.
And was he looking for money? Was he looking for economic? I mean, something motivated him to give you his name.
He told me. He said validation. He said I validated him.
Interesting. Well, maybe you guys will remarry again, because that happens a lot. If it's
we will not. No, we will not. We absolutely will not.
Like I tell people, you take the U out of husband and add an A.
Okay.
Become a has been.
Oh, that's exactly.
That.
I love that. I'm going to put that in my pocket.
On that note, ladies, I do enjoy your show, Ms. Riddick, and I do listen to it, but this is the first time I actually called. I probably will do social media in the future.
Oh, thank you so much. It's truly appreciated.
Each of you get home nice and safe, and may your path be covered with rose petals as you go through life.
Thank you.
Ooh, I love that. I love the visual alone. Thank you so much, and you as well. Have a great rest of your night. Oh my goodness, that was a wonderful conversation. Listen, look, y'all family, y'all know by now how transparent I am, but I'm just telling y'all all my little. But that's what we do. If I'm encouraging you to do it, okay, how can I encourage you to do it and not do it myself?
Right.
That's you right here on Love and Life. We talk about everything under both the umbrellas of love and life. So, family, for those of you who have just joined us, you are tuned in to Love and Life right here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. We have held Farida, well, not we, I won't put you in this. I won't do it to you, okay? I have held Farida hostage, okay? Because, she does the first hour with us. So thank you so much, Farida, for staying an extra minutes. I did say 5 initially, so thank you.
Radio minutes seem to be a little different than regular life. It's okay.
They really are. They truly are. But thank you again. And we cannot wait to have another conversation with you next week.
See you next week. Have a good night, family.
Yes. Oh, I'm going to take a moment to go to our socials and see who is joining us, who's still checking in. Al, I'm so glad that you wrote. Thank you. I missed that. Hey, Tim. Timothy is joining us. Yes, knowing a person's pedigree. That is important. It's so important. Cheryl Hicks Lucas is joining us as well. Miss Julie, I know all of this. This was a very interesting conversation, wasn't it? But family, as the clock ticks and I'm looking at the time, and I definitely want you to meet our next guest. For those of you who are unfamiliar, our next guest is a stand-up comedy artist and is a veteran of the stage. Beginning at Philadelphia's famed Laugh House Comedy Club, he is an accomplished comedian and writer. His production company created a record label and produced 2 live comedy albums. It also produces the successful weekly comedy showcase at Soul Comedy and the Throwback Comedy Jam. I'm going to eliminate all the suspense. Family, I invite you to meet TuRAE Gordon, aka Comedy by TuRAE. Hey, family.
Hello, how are you, Ms. Riddick?
I will not complain. I will not. Okay, listen, we won't do it. We won't do it.
It's phenomenal. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Listen, I should have asked you to join us in the first hour because before we get into all of the amazing wonderfulness that you're involved in, I saw the post that you posted today. Family, I'm going to share this with you. On his IG, he posted, okay, you've got to see him with his cup, his mug. Now, I'm a hug and a mug person, so I always enjoy the quips. But he posted a video of these 2 young ladies. Well, no, I'm sorry. It was a young man.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, this is my new boo, my new bae, this is my new one. And she got me a birthday present already. What you get me, bae? That's what he said. What'd you get me, bae?
And she popped the trunk and she got his girlfriend.
That's what she got him for his birthday, his girlfriend. Okay.
Jumped out the trunk.
She jumped out of the trunk. That's what I should have asked Farida to talk about that. That's what I should have asked. Okay. My mouth dropped.
Yes.
But here we go. We're talking about, earlier we were talking about relationship trauma. I don't even understand the relationships that our youth have today, that our younger, I don't understand these relationships. I don't. But I say that again.
I'm sorry. No, I was adjusting something.
Oh, no, no. Well, I thought I would add that because however, it did make me laugh. But I said, heavens to Murgatroyd, this world in which we live.
Yeah.
But I asked you to come here today because you know I love you and adore you and have done so for so many
Yes,
years.
man. Yes, man.
But I wanted our family members who are unfamiliar to
Mhm.
get to know you and to know you better. For those that do know.
Mhm. Um, it, it, you know, it's so funny. I say to people, I'm blessed to be gainfully employed in the business of comedy. So for 30 years, I've been a comedian. So any shows or any opportunities, I've been around them. People may not know my name, but they've seen me, on stage, and normally that's the recognition that I get when people see me physically in their face. They go, "I know you. I've seen you on
Mm-hmm.
seen you somewhere," and I'm happy for that. So for those that are unfamiliar, I'm your favorite comedian. You just probably don't know it. I like to say I'm Philadelphia's favorite comedian, but sometimes that limits me where people try to keep you in a box like, oh, you only work in Philly. And it's like, no, I live in Philly. You know what I'm saying? But I make money all over the world. I'm known all over the world for my art, for my comedy. So thankful for that. But that's something that I've done and put the work in. So
Yeah.
I'm your favorite comedian. You just got to come see me.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
I can say that. That is the truth. So I shared with our family members that you got your start at the Laugh House, at
Yeah.
Philadelphia's famed Laugh House.
Yes.
How did that come to be? And
Well,
at what age were you?
oh, see, this is so funny because people can tell the story. You being from Philly, you've heard, it's whatever. All right, so I actually am the reason why the Laugh House exists.
I
The Laugh
believe
House
that.
used to be a club called Catch a Rising Star on South Street, same location. It was just called Catch a Rising Star, which is a chain club. They got Catch a Rising Stars all over the country. Still a few exist to this day.
Okay.
And I used to, have hoop dreams. I knew I wasn't going to the NBA, but I loved a good street ball game. So in my 19 freshman year, sophomore year of college, I used to go seek out runs. And one of the runs I went was, they used to have good runs at the Bellevue Sporting Club atop the Bellevue.
Okay.
Like you could play NBA players being there, like you get
Mm-hmm.
and I'm in there one day and I'm having such a ball because I'm killing this guy. This little white guy, blonde hair, blue eye, beautiful dude, Ken doll looking, but he could not play no ball. And I'm giving this dude, and I guess he really just out there for exercise because he kind of enjoying it. And I'm talking so much to him while I'm killing him that we struck up a conversation. And he's like, "Hey man, you're pretty funny." And I was like, "Yeah, I just started dabbling in comedy. I'm in school, but I started trying to do a little comedy." He said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I own a comedy club." I said, "What?" This man I'm talking to is Eric Bloomfeld, the real
Shut
estate developer,
up.
the one that owns the block down on South Street, and the one that got the Met developed. He got the $40 million.
Yes.
That's Eric Bloomfeld. So Eric, it was the owner of the Laugh House. At the time, I'm running around in comedy under the tutorship of D. Lee. I'm D. Lee's acolyte at the time. I introduced D. Lee to Eric. D bought into the club.
Wow.
Star became the Laugh House. So that's how the Laugh House started.
All of these years that I've known both you and D. Lee, I never knew
Really?
that.
A lot of people take credit for things.
Shut up.
But I'm the
Shut
reason,
up.
I'm the reason why because I introduced, at the time we were doing shows independently all over. Like we were doing shows at Shayla Bell's. I mean, Glory.
I remember.
Where we could get a venue, we were doing shows, and D was one of the first people to stop running around renting venues and actually get a connect and buy a club. So that's what happened. And really, he was smart with it because I don't think D had the capital, but what he did have was he was on the morning show at Power 99 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I do know for a fact he told Power 99 for a minute, "Don't give me no checks. Don't worry about my paycheck. I want radio advertisement." And that's how the Laugh House blew up because it was on the radio all the time.
Wow. Now that was smart. That's what you, that was that's called business acumen.
Yes.
So
I learned a lot from D. I will honestly say I'm D. Lee's Frankenstein's monster because if it wasn't for D, I wouldn't be the comedian I am.
Wow. Look at this. So now I heard you were talking about having been in school. You were in college at the time.
Yeah, I was at Temple. I was at a lawyer.
Shut up.
Yeah. I was at I was, you know, I'm arguing. I can argue. I'm one of the greatest debaters in the world. And,
wait, aren't you a Gemini?
I'm a Gemini. Yes.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Yeah.
And so I remember being around campus. I was the guy around campus that, and honestly, Carol, was probably more like a defense mechanism. I'm an only child. I grew up dark skinned, bald, you know, tall, skin, 80s. Like I say, this is a great thing now, but I was born in 1973, and in 85, 86, it wasn't cool to be dark skinned and tall. So anyway, I'm saying I had fixed. So by the time I got to college, my tongue was very sharp. And, you know, we come out in humorous ways, but it was really more like a defense mechanism. Like, I'm going to talk about you before you talk about me, or I'm going to make you feel crazy before you make me feel crazy. And young lady, Stacy Jackson, I'll never forget. She walked up to me and she's like, "You coming to open mic night tonight?" I'm like, "What's open mic night?" This is how grown I am. I'm like, "What's open mic night?" She talking about, you come, you tell jokes, you know what I mean? You entertain the crowds, or, you know, you be funny. And I'm like, I'm not no comedian. And don't get me wrong, at this time in my life, I always had an affinity for comedy. I recognize it, but I didn't see me being the comedian. I just knew I liked
what.
And she said to me, like women, and specifically black women can, she looked me dead in my face like she was looking at something I was not aware of. And she was like, "You funny as shit."
Wait.
It was like, okay, so I'm coming. And that's what started my career.
Wait, don't get us put off the air. Hold the expletives. But hold on a second, family. What we're going to do right now, we're going to go to a break. How about we do that? We're going to go to a break, but know that the phone lines are open, and feel free to comment on our socials. Stay with us, family, because we'll be right back.
Are you ready to train for a career beyond the ordinary? Orleans Technical College in Northeast Philadelphia can help you get there. At Orleans Tech, we offer hands-on training and diploma programs in high-demand fields like air conditioning, refrigeration and heating, building maintenance, carpentry, plumbing and heating, and residential and commercial electricity, plus our brand new healthcare program, Clinical Medical Assistant. Start your dream career. Call us at 215-728-4700 or visit our website at orleanstech.edu.
Here's what you missed on Wake Up with Word.
Joining us now is lawyer and critical race theorist Dr. Tim Golden. He is a visiting professor of philosophy at Whitman College. We've been talking about it all morning, man. A judge in Oklahoma has dismissed with prejudice a lawsuit filed by 3 survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre who were seeking reparations. What does this mean, and what does it say about the fight for reparations?
Well, what this means for this specific case, Solomon, is that barring an appeals court intervening at the request of the 3 plaintiffs, that the case is over. The judge dismissed the case with prejudice. The 3 plaintiffs, who are all centenarians, one of them I think is 109, are of course entitled to appeal under Oklahoma state law. We have to see what happens from here on out, whether or not these folks appeal. I'm sure they will, and we'll see what happens there.
Tune in to Wake Up with Word with Solomon Jones every Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on WURD. Progressive Black Talk Media.
Let's face it, life looks a little different. During these times, we're doing our best to keep our minds and bodies strong. And getting a flu shot helps us stay healthy, so we don't miss out on what matters, like having game night at home. Yeah, can't do that while sick with the flu. Now imagine family movie night that your daughter can't live without. Well, that's ruined. And don't forget your uncle's socially distanced cookout. See, that's why it's important to be at our strongest. Every year, millions of people in the U.S. get the flu. Especially now, no one has time to miss out on moments that matter. So get your flu shot. Find out more at getmyflushot.org. Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
Summer is here, and so is WURD's annual Summer of Freedom Tour. WURD Radio is proud to partner with Philadelphia Parks and Recreation and the Center for Families and Relationships for a summer of fun, freedom, and healthy communities. Join us in Germantown, Overbrook, North Philly, and Southwest Philly, where Tanya Pendleton will broadcast live each Thursday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Discover all that our recreation centers have to offer. Meet with mental health specialists who will provide support to children impacted by gun violence. Join WURD's community partners for hands-on outdoor activities and hear live performances from local artists. Win tickets and prizes and stand with WURD by joining or renewing your WURD membership on site. Meet us at our first stop Thursday, July 13th in Germantown at the Rumpf Mallory Recreation Center, 100 East Johnson Street. Summer of Freedom is brought to you by Comcast, PECO, Keystone First, and the Energy Co-op. You're listening to Love and Life with Carol Riddick on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Hey there, family. We are back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. I'm going to take a moment to go to our socials. This first message that I'm reading, I do think it is necessary to share with you, and it pertains to the conversation we had in the first hour. Miss Cheryl Hicks Lucas shares, taking your time is excellent advice. I stayed single for over 10 years. Then my mother called and told me she dreamed of my husband. The next day, my husband came to me. You must be equally yoked. People also change in relationships. This is so true. They do. They do. Ms. Julie shares, she writes, TuRAE on keeping your distance on YouTube, 4.3K thumbs up.
Yeah.
She writes 195 comments, TuRAE, keep your distance. One comment reads, his timing is so smooth. I wish there were more like him. I love it. Listen, that right there is iconic. Okay, it's iconic. I want to share some more comments from our socials. Our family members are checking in. Joey Dixon is checking in. My cousin Sherry is checking in. She's listening from Atlanta and she's enjoying the conversation. Tony Brown is checking in. Henry Purifoy, Darren Daughtry, Melissa Gamble is checking in. I love the Love family. I do. Joanne Dorman is checking in. Timothy writes, I'm still stuck on the come up. He's still stuck on that. I want to take a moment just to go to our phone lines. Family, I believe we have a family member waiting to talk with us. Are you still there?
Carolyn?
Yes. Hello.
Miss Brenda.
Hi, Miss Brenda. How you
doing,
doing?
dear heart?
I will not complain, Miss Brenda.
I won't be long. I'm going to, listening to you, I have to you're entertaining me, but I'm going to be real quick to tell you what I called you for.
Okay.
Ed Gordon, I might be late in seeing it. I saw it today on Facebook. He made a really nice comment about you when you were singing with Will, and it was just fabulous. I made a post. I'm not going to tell you what it said. I hope you can read it for yourself.
Okay. Oh.
A lot of nice comments made about you from that post.
Miss Brenda, I can't tell you how much it means to me that you called. That's love right there. I feel the hug, and he. It was really nice of Ed Gordon to post and write about me. I'm going to read it. I promise I will, and I'm going to respond.
I'm an OG with WURD. I go all the way back to with Dr. Lomax when we still had him and Cody and everybody. So long time member. So it's just family, just like I am with your family. Love you much. Let me let somebody else go. I'm just enjoying the light from you, because when you walk in the light, you always where you should be.
Oh, Jesus. I love you, Miss Brenda. Thank you so much.
I give it to God. He sends it to me, and it just comes out. So that's the honest truth. So take care. I'll be listening to you.
You too. Thank you,
Okay,
Miss
love.
Brenda.
Okay, my love. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Oh my goodness. So TuRAE, I want to get back to you and this illustrious career of yours.
Yeah,
So I shared, I was trying to just give bits and pieces about Comedy by TuRAE
yeah,
events, your
yeah.
production company. Now, family, I should tell you that I've run into TuRAE all over the world. So
Mhm.
when he's telling you, when he says he's not Philadelphia's favorite comedian, he is telling all kinds of truth with that statement, okay? Because the
Yeah,
world does love him. I can tell you that.
yeah,
But I did share that, your production company produced 2 live albums. You produced
yeah.
several types of events. I want you to share with us about the events, but before you do, I'm curious to know, once you began doing comedy, like did you have the entrepreneurial spirit, or was it always a part of your plan?
Yeah. Thankfully, I came into comedy at the Def Jam era, and
Mhm.
it's termed and coined now the urban comedy. But I would say that to anybody, and it's termed and coined urban comedy, but it's also like related to black comedy. But I would
Mhm.
say to anybody that urban comedy is not specifically black. It's kind of any comedy that exists without the industry startup. So it's the dude throwing the show at the local bar. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
how I came up. I came into comedy throwing my own shows. So I was already always on the business end. And once the Laugh House came into my life and we were having a steady stream of income, we were making money. The business of how to take care of my money. I remember sitting with my accountant, and it was in 2006, and she said, "You need an LLC." She's like, because you make too much money over the table like that, you need an
Mhm.
LLC to start, itemizing your expenses and stuff like that. So when the pandemic hit, I already had an LLC.
Right.
I was like, oh, that's all you need? Like, this is all the information? I got one. I got that EIN. I've been had that. So I guess I came into comedy as comedian and promoter. And I'm thankful for that
Mhm.
because I do understand it's a business. And in the artist moments of darkness, then of those.
Mhm.
Sometimes the business side, I'm able to see it and go, take the personal out of it and go, it ain't, it's not personal. It ain't, they don't like
Mhm.
Ray. It is what it is. So I'm thankful for having the business acumen because I know how to feed myself and to
Mhm. And
years
your
in the game.
family.
Right. Because when
Yeah.
I started, it was just me, now it's, it's 8 kids and a wife. And yeah, I got to be able to feed them. They got to be able to, my oldest daughter is 27. And I say to people, she don't ask much, but when she do, like the last ask was, hey, I need a couple dollars to pay my homeowner fee on her condo. You know what I'm saying? So requests are
Mm.
different as they get older, but you still dad, and you still got to be able to take care of your family. So
I mean,
I'm thankful that I can.
that's a blessing. What you just said. Your
Yeah,
27-year-old daughter said she
yeah,
needed some help paying her condo fee. She didn't
yeah.
say this bag, this
No,
handbag. She didn't
no,
say these shoes or this.
no.
She said, "Dad, I need some help
I need
with
some
my
help, and she
condo
gave
fee."
it back. She paid it back. Like it's, and I, every now and then I text my daughter to tell her, just out the clear blue. When I do, I one day I just texted and I said, I'm proud of the choices and the decisions you make as a young
Mhm.
woman. Just wanted her to know that because I understand out here being young. I understand being a kid and trying to grow up and trying to be mature and trying to have your independence. But I wanted her to know that I see you. I'm proud of
Mhm.
you doing, and I stand by your choices and decisions. So yeah, it's a different feel when you're able to provide for yourself and your family from what you do. And I've been able
Mhm.
to be able to do that for 30 years. So
So I'm curious to know, because I know the industry. Well, look, it's different as it pertains to my little piece in it,
yeah,
and talking about how comedy has changed and shifted because we don't have the Duff Comedy Jam. Everything is morphed into something else, and the way things are done are different as well. What do you say to aspiring comedians?
it's this time is different from any, and as much as this is the time an artist can get their goods to market better than any. Like if
Mhm.
you're an
Mhm.
comedians or artist, then you should be able to get your goods to market as easily as any of these rappers or nail techs or girls doing hair,
Mhm.
because internet, it's not. It is somewhat more difficult to figure out which way to go. But once you start going that way, you should be able to get your product out. Now, the problem is, I think when a young, as young comedians, is they don't know what product to develop. And I think they think that you can still skip for comedy. It's still the same. You still got to go to the clubs, still got to get on stage. And I don't mean the clubs literally, but you still have to get on stage and perfect your art. So you can do anything. You can have 1 million followers. You can do it all on the phone all day long. But eventually, somebody gonna give you an opportunity, because if you become successful on the internet, they just give you more opportunities. That's what happens. Like if you got 800 million followers, they gonna have you host a New Year's Eve telethon somewhere,
right?
Because you got that people following you, and if you can't entertain these people off that platform, then they start to take those things away. So you have to be able to, when they say, hey, it's your turn, or when they turn that light on you, you have to be able to deliver them something. So I would say that anybody aspiring, work on your art, work on your craft, work on your practice. Practice makes perfect. I know it sounds redundant and it's boring, but that part is what's going to get you ready to take advantage of the opportunities that everybody's going to get. It used to be, everybody gets their 15 minutes of fame, or you might get your 15 minutes. I think today, everyone will have their 15 minutes of fame. The difference is it's whether you want to or not. So there are some people that don't want to be famous, but you're going to come out the house, fall down the steps. They're going to catch it on camera, and you're going to be famous. Now,
or this gentleman we talked about today, because I'm sure he didn't anticipate.
And that's things like that. So what now? Do you want to parlay that? Do you want to be the dude known for popping out of trunks, or do you want to be, a comedian? So I just think when you get your shot, be able to take advantage of it, because the way shots come now are more plentiful, because everything needs content. Like right now with a writer's strike, the easiest and most inexpensive show to produce? A comedy show. A platform comedy show. So that's why Kevin Hart is back with BET Comic View, and you're going to start seeing a couple other platform shows pop up, because comedy's cheap. It's easy to produce. It's easy to put on TV, and everybody needs content right now. So
I don't want to support comedy is cheap. I want to support comedy is more cost effective, because we don't like the word cheap. I don't like the word cheap. Comedy is more cost effective.
For us, it's an opportunity, and a comedian that is, maybe not known in the next 3-4 months, with an opportunity to get seen on bigger stages or more stages or TV exposure or whatever the platform may be. That, like the young lady said, I love your set, don't keep your distance. Well, one thing I make sure I do is I stay relevant. Keep your distance is the hot show in comedy right now. So it was like, it don't matter that it's not on TV, but that dude got 800 million YouTube followers. So I darn sure wanted to get on Keep Your Distance. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Everybody, their opportunities are going to come. What are you going to do with them?
Right. So I'm young. How do I hone my craft as a comedian? How do you do that?
Go to the open mic nights. You get on stage, you perform, you get, you take the hits. Like I had a young comedian say to me, like basically he wanted to go somewhere to perform, but he didn't want to bomb. How do I get around that? And I'm like, you can't. Like if you're a boxer and you can't fight yet, if you don't know how to fight yet, when you get in the ring, you're gonna get your ass beat. There's no way to get around it.
Don't get us kicked off the air.
I'm sorry. You're gonna get beat up. You're gonna take losses. Now, it shouldn't happen if you 5 years in and you still losing, then maybe boxing ain't your sport. But it should get better. You should learn. You should not get hit with the same punch in fight 3 that you got hit with in fight 1. It takes practice. And again, it's not just comedians. I'm sure you know it with singers. Everybody thinks they can circumvent the work. And then you find yourself being sat back down and put back to work anyway.
Quickly.
Like there's going to be that cat that blows up and gets an opportunity.
Yeah.
What's happening? He's going to get to LA and somebody going to go, hey, man, while we're waiting for you to shoot this sitcom, why don't you go down to the comedy club tonight and work on your set? And then when you get down to the comedy club and they see that he's not good, they're going to go, we need to get you in these clubs working on your set, because we now have something invested in you. So you tried to skip, we're back at it. Circumvent the work. You got to do the work. So while you're waiting on your way up, might as well do the work. Might as well get a work. Might as well get used to having to practice and doing a work ethic. So how do you do that? You find the local open mic in your city. There is one. You know this, Carol. Coming up, there wasn't a big, it is now, and I'm so proud of the Philadelphia comedy community as it exists now. But when I was starting, there wasn't that many shows. But I was blessed that I would go and Black Lily would give me 5 minutes on the mic. So Blue Funk would give me 5 minutes on the mic. I didn't just go to comedy shows. I went to where I could get on the mic.
Yeah.
They would give me an opportunity. I would do half decent, and I wouldn't disrespect their mic. I wouldn't disrespect their stage, and they would say I would come. So I gave myself opportunities and places to perform in. So as a young comedian, you got to do that. You got to find somewhere where you can go perform. You got to find your home club. You got to listen to the no's. You got to get bumped off shows. You got to deal with the standing in line. But that needs to get into the gym and work out. So you got to do all that. So yeah,
that's what it's all about.
Get in that gym and work out. That's the advice I can give you.
That's what it's all about. And that applies to life. That applies to anything and everything that you do, especially if you plan on being any good at it, quite honestly. Family, listen, if you have just joined us, you're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. We are talking with Comedy by TuRAE. We are going to take just a short commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to talk all about soul comedy and the Throwback Comedy Jam and everything else that is in the future of Comedy by TuRAE. So stay with us, family, because we will be right back.
WURD Radio Digital Tip of the Month with Stephanie Humphrey is brought to you by Comcast.
It doesn't have to be the dog days of summer for your gadgets to overheat. Your smartphone will usually become physically warm to the touch, but here are some other signs your devices are getting too hot. If apps or other programs freeze up, basic functions take longer than usual, or your laptop or smartphone shuts down unexpectedly, that could mean that it's too hot. If you think your device is overheating, here's what you can do. Keep gadgets out of direct sunlight, especially in the car. Make sure your laptop fan isn't being blocked, and turn down the brightness or take the case off of your device. This might also be a cue for you to take a little break for a while as well. Finally, make sure you're not resting any devices on your bare skin. You could actually get burned if your smartphone or laptop gets overheated. Keep your cool and stay safe this summer with your tech. And stay tuned to WURD for more tips and stay connected with us at wordradio.com.
Hey, WURD family, save the date, Friday, August 18th for the 2023 Founders Day celebration. Please join us in person for an all-day block party featuring a tribute to Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD, food, music, the presentation of the Community Impact Awards, and more. You can also stand with WURD Radio. Start or renew your 4WURD membership on site. Save the date for our 2023 Founders Day celebration, Friday, August 18th. We are WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
What are you waiting for? If you've been enjoying the information and interviews WURD provides every day, or come out to our community events, it might be time to become a member. This year marks the 20th anniversary of WURD, and there's no better time to join the 4WURD movement. Sign up or renew your sustaining membership at just $90, or your digital membership for just $5 a month. Join online at wordradio.com/membership, or pick up the phone and give us a call at 215-425-7875. Press 4 for assistance. The time to join is now.
What am I waiting for?
Remember the last time your family visited the forest? It's a place of wonder and imagination for the whole family, where stories come to life. And it's closer than you think. Ready to plan your next visit? Make the forest part of your story today at a local park near you, or find one at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Let me tell you something, and don't you ever forget it. Success is nothing without someone you love to share it with.
You're listening to Love and Life with Carol Riddick on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Family, welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. We are talking with none other than Comedy by TuRAE. We're talking about his life, his legacy, and what's next. So before the commercial break, I was sharing with you that I was going to ask him to share with us about At Soul Comedy and about the Throwback Comedy Jam and everything else he wants to share with us. So please do tell, do tell, do tell.
Okay, well, Soul Comedy is actually just the name of my performance production company. So it'll be Soul Comedy Presents, Soul Comedy this, Soul Comedy that. The latest incarnation is going down at a place that you are performing at this Friday, I believe.
Wilson, yes.
So yes, we do Soul Comedy twice a month at Wilson's on Wednesday. Because previous to Wilson's, we were at Warm Daddy's for 6 years every Wednesday. I am so thankful for that show. And you know, because people walk up to me to this day and go, "Man, I miss Warm Daddy," and I go, "You miss Warm Daddy?" You know, like I had a great run there, but one thing I've learned through this game is that you're gonna have a good run and accept it as that. Don't try to recreate it. Don't try to go back. You know, so I didn't try to recreate it in as the same way because I didn't go weekly, but I did want to be in a Black-owned venue with good food. And nice place to do comedy where somewhere comedy would be presented. So when the Wilsons, I met with Mr. and Mrs. Wilson and we made a deal to bring Soul Comedy over there. It continues to be just the mantra of Soul Comedy is quality, live quality stand-up comedy, in a good atmosphere. So we try to provide that. When I say quality, I mean, you know, don't get me wrong, there can be local shows that we have, but with local comedians, but to keep something consistent, to keep people coming out, you have to bring, you know, I had 52 Wednesdays. I had to bring 52 different comedians, and there's not 52 comedians that we should be paying to see in Philadelphia. So, you know, you started to bring in the cats that, you know, through my experience that people wanted to see, because of course people will tell you what they want to see, but also some of the comedians that I've encountered in my travels that, yo, you need to come to my city. I need my people to see you. So that's a great thing about Soul Comedy, to be able to not only have comedians come that we knew and we loved and we wanted to see, but also I love to be at my show and somebody go, "Man, you know, who the F is that? Who that?" I've never seen the guy, but man, that really did mean something to me, because it wasn't just about the name. It was, yo, man, you came to a comedy show and you didn't know who he was, but you enjoyed it. And that meant something to me, that people started to understand how comedy shows. I love when people come to comedy shows, especially younger cats, and they go, "Man, I ain't never been to a comedy show, yo. This was dope." And I go, "Yeah, bring a girl next time," or, you know, "This is nice," or, you know, like saying, you ain't always got to go to the club or go smoke hookah. You can come to the comedy show. You know, there's an option. So I enjoy providing that just as much as I enjoy performing. So Soul Comedy allows me to do that, allows me to produce great quality comedy shows. And then as I got comedy things successful, I wanted to do other things. And one of the things I was noticing is there's a lot of veteran comedians, cats older than me or longer in the game than me, that are still funny, still viable, but they're not getting on. They're not getting shows because we done moved on to this youth movement. And it's like, you know, I wanted to start doing what was called the Throwback Comedy Jam, where I was bringing the Brumans and the Jamari Mario and Shucky Ducky and those cats, for us to see them back on stage and in a great light and in good venues. So I was doing a Throwback Comedy Jam at Punchline Philly. They were allowing me to do that. So I just like to create as much on stage as off. And I think off stage is me creating opportunities, but also different brands and different ways of comedy and different ways to enjoy comedy. You know, during the pandemic, right after the pandemic ended, I started the comedy brunch, you know, because I wanted to start doing, you know, Soul Comedy Brunch. And that was just a different way to showcase live stand-up comedy, just a different time of the day. And people, when I first started, be like, I don't think that's going to work. I'm like, it's definitely going to work.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
know
Absolutely.
and then I literally stood on stage and was like, wow, people really like brunch. Like, so I try
yes,
to.
we do.
Yes. And so that's the greatness of soul comedy, is that it allows me to create opportunities. It allows me to create activity and interest in what I do for a living. So that's a great thing. And TuRAE Events is the LLC that allows me all to do it.
Question for you. So you told us about at Soul Comedy. You told us that takes place on Wednesdays at Wilson's, the Throwback Comedy Jam, and you mentioned the Comedy Brunch.
The Comedy Brunch is on hiatus. It will be returning in the fall to Punchline Philly with the Throwback. So they'll both be coming to Punchline Philly, not the same night, but those two shows that I'll be having, they already been slated to come to Punchline Philly.
So I was about to say, don't threaten us with a good time and then don't tell us how to get in. Listen.
Like, shout out to Live Nation and Punchline Philly. Like, they really have shown me extreme love for it to be a club that was something that I wasn't grandfathered into, that it was a club that I walked into Punchline Philly and, introduced myself and worked, and they, gave me opportunities, and we made a great relationship. And through that, I've gotten some great friends at Punchline Philly and at Live Nation. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank them, because people don't always have to believe in what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? And they've allowed me to do shows I want.
No, that's truth right there. That right there, that was a whole word. People don't have to believe in what you want to do. So to have support, that's a tremendous blessing.
Yes, it is.
I mean, tremendous. I mean, listen, like I said in the beginning, when I was sharing with everybody, introducing you, I've always loved you, as you know. He knows. He knows. And so I'm just happy to see all that you're doing, all that you've done, and happy to support all that you're continuing to do. So family, we've been talking with Comedy by TuRAE, aka TuRAE Gordon, for those who are unfamiliar. I'd say we've had a great night here. TuRAE, I want to thank you. First and foremost, because when I reached out, he said, yeah, okay, so when? Just let me know when. When I said, come and talk with us. So thank you. I mean, truly appreciate it. I really do. I really do. Because I know as creatives, we've got so many moving parts. And when you're an adult creative and you have life in the midst of all of those moving parts, there's so much to navigate.
Yes, I'm very protective of my off time. I'll be like,
listen, what? Listen,
I got off that night. I don't want to be doing no.
Listen, I know. Listen, you already know. Because when we shut the world out, it's completely and totally different thing to what some may believe.
I'm okay with being a recluse. I've been all right with it. Like I'm good. I come out, I get on stage, I go back in the house.
TuRAE, you are preaching, okay, to the entire congregation right here.
In Philadelphia, I call it cutting down on my get killed time. I don't be outside long.
TuRAE. No.
I get back in the house. You better get back in the house. Y'all better get back in the house. Hey, if you're in Philly and you outside right now, get back in the house. Get back in the house. What you doing outside? It's Philly. It's crazy out there. But no, I'm just as you know, when it becomes structured, you have very little time for the creative part. You have very little time for the health part to take care of yourself. So we're very guarded with our off time, and I know I am. It's like, and people are, you never answer the phone. I'm like, I don't want for what.
I got all I need right here.
I'm good. I didn't have to answer the phone. I got food. I got water.
Everybody's good. I know they're good. I can look. I'm good. Oh my goodness. Alfredia shares, it's nice to meet you TuRAE. She puts hashtag keep telling the funny truth.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. So family, you already know what time it is. It's that time. Family, to God be the glory. As we wrap up tonight's episode, I extend my utmost gratitude to each and every one of you as you continue to support Love and Life. Thank you to all of our callers and to those who contributed to the conversation via our socials. Ms. Joanne Dormond just shares TuRAE's energy is beautiful. And that's, I love that. It is. Special thanks, just special thanks to both of our guests, both FARIDA Boyer and Comedy by TuRAE, for sharing your time, your energy, your knowledge, your attention. Congratulations again to Miss Kayla J. Thank you, entire WURD family. Family, we're all in this together, so be good to you, but please be good to those around you, okay? Have a great night, and be sure to join me Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 p.m. for another edition of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. Good night, y'all.
Good night.